truth group in Bristol. And everything being equal, that documentary will premiere in Bristol next Sunday. And on Thursday, so that's Thursday the 6th of July, 8th, not Carlo. On the 6th of July, we'll be showing that documentary at the Methodist Church, about a couple hundred yards down the hill. And we'll be kicking off at 7:30. So we're going to show the documentary, which is Mind the Gap, and then we'll be looking at a deconstruction of the government narrative and showing why it is a complete work of fiction. Then on Thursday, the 3rd of August, here, David touched on the prospect of perhaps understanding or comprehending why it is that Palestinians may react the way they do due to the behaviour of their host nation. And on that evening, we have David Calkin. Now, David is a retired orthopaedic surgeon, and he, I think I'm right in saying, since his retirement, he'll correct me in a second if I'm wrong, but since his retirement, he's made 5 trips to Palestine. He's set up a charity with the specific intent of supporting Palestinian children. Now, David's going to be giving a talk on Thursday, the 3rd of August here, and he's going to come up on stage and just give us a very quick and brief summary of what he's going to talk about. So this is David Calkin.
Thanks for listening to say 2 minutes. The first cop-up is that my second page of my notes is obviously back home. The talk I will give will be called Palestine, the hinge of humanity, our humanity, or So What, which is most of the people's reaction to Palestine. You know Brian Hoare, that courageous and persistent champion against killing and maiming by our state, especially children. He got right up the nostrils of Mr. Blair and his cabal. On one of the many placards that angered the powerful but morally bankrupt, it said, "Wherever law ends, tyranny begins. If the law be transgressed, to anyone's harm." That was John Locke, a philosopher and doctor of the 17th century. I sign my letters for people who would understand, if you know what I mean. I say, "for justice," rather than "yours sincerely," which is a rather classic phrase, and it will be yours faithfully. "For justice, for reason, and for peace." The last will not happen until the first two transpire. So what about law and justice under that? In Yemen in 2001, a suspect terrorist was identified in western Yemen, and a drone fired a rocket at a car carrying 6 men, one of whom was the alleged terrorist. This was apparently triggered from Tamba, 8,000 miles away. That is, in other words, the suspect was now identified, charged or heard. But that was justice in 2001, US style. How about Britain? Torture. Our country now accepts torture from another country if it, so any evidence that is obtained under torture is accepted by this country, which is quite extraordinary. 60 years after the Nuremberg trials or thereabouts. Another thought, 1 billion of our 6 billion world population lack good water. That includes the Palestinian population of Gaza, where no tap produces potable water. The UN calculated that $50 billion would bring clean water to that 1 billion folk throughout the world. The B-2 stealth bomber, which was used to bomb Iraq early on, which flew right around the world, being refueled 4 times, costs $1.2 billion. were about 40 of them. With the climate-controlled hangars, you could say that £50 billion has been spent on B-2 stealth bombers. Exactly the cost of bringing clean water to 100 people. So that's where the reason comes in, and there isn't much reason at the moment. Unreason is, in fact, the name of the day. And the monetary war, the monetary cost of the war in Iraq, £300 billion. Now, I'll quickly finish. I was in I was in Gaza until 8 weeks ago. On a Monday morning, I was speaking with my friend Hamis Elisi, a physician, about a medical educational centre we will set up shortly. During that morning, 50 artillery shells exploded nearby, cracked the walls of the hospital. By then, over 6,000 shells had been fired by the Israeli artillery and Israeli ships. And you know what happened recently on the beach. This is a disproportionate response to the handmade Machon rockets, which have killed 13 Israelis over 2 years. Now, what I will do, in fact, is to tell you about Palestine on the 3rd of August,